Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I don't know if you can hear what's going on downstairs, but Ahana's getting ready to sleep, and usually when she gets ready for sleep she like makes all kinds of noise and stuff. So if you hear any of that, that's what's happening. Today we're just going to do a sit down talk, so just get comfortable and put on your pajamas. Like, I'm wearing pajamas. And also I'm filming on a new camera, so if you see me looking up, it's because I'm looking at myself, because I can do that now. Anyway, let's get right into it. So as you can tell by the caption, I'm just going to talk about our labor, pregnancy, birth story or whatever. We actually had a miscarriage before we got pregnant with Ahana. We were pregnant in January of 2021, and then I had a very early miscarriage. I was about only 6 weeks or something like that. Very early, but it doesn't really matter because, you know, it still happened. Of course we were sad about it, and then we just like went slow. We're not really thinking about anything after that. But I got pregnant again soon after. I believe I got pregnant in March after the miscarriage. And of course that was with Ahana, a little rainbow baby, and just our love of our lives. Oh my gosh, she is adorable and she is the best. Absolutely the best baby ever. I love her so much. And I'm so very thankful for her. Yeah, so we got pregnant with Ahana, I think March. She was due November 9th, and she's a preemie, so we'll get to that story. So pregnancy for me was like, it was really easy. Like, it was the easiest pregnancy probably in the entire universe. Like, no joke. I had like no symptoms at all. The only thing that happened was like at the beginning I kind of felt sick, not necessarily nauseous, but like sick a little bit, but like it wasn't even anything. And I had no symptoms other than that for the rest of the pregnancy. I was tired, I guess, but I'm always tired. So I can't say that was just because I was pregnant or not. So I wasn't tired, I wasn't nauseous, I didn't have any cravings or aversions or anything throughout my entire pregnancy. Nothing at all. So it was pretty much just coasting. You know, if I couldn't feel her move, and if my stomach didn't grow, and obviously if I continued to have my period, I wouldn't have known that I was pregnant, because literally nothing. We had a very good pregnancy. It was very easy. Nothing happened, you know, wasn't supposed to happen or anything like that. However, right around mid 20 weeks or early 30 weeks of being pregnant, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, which, you know, totally sucks. If you get gestational diabetes, you're more likely to get, I think it's type 2 diabetes later on in life. So I'm really hoping that doesn't happen, and I'm pretty sure I'm cleared of my diabetes now. I was supposed to get it checked out like during my 6-week postpartum checkup, but I never went. But I think I'm doing good. So yeah, that's like the only thing that happened throughout my entire pregnancy, honestly, was that I got the diabetes. And I only had to exercise more and watch what I ate, so it wasn't like I wasn't bedridden or anything. Like, it wasn't too difficult. I was sad. Obviously I couldn't eat what I wanted to eat, but it wasn't like that big of a deal. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm okay now. Now we're just gonna get into like the last few weeks of being pregnant and stuff. This is like a very simple video because it happened all so quickly. So I got pregnant in March, like I said, and Ahana was due in on November 9th. You know, full term, you know, November 9th, and it's like 9 months, and it just kind of, it was slow and fast all at the same time of being pregnant. You know, it's just, life really does pass you by. It's really crazy. I think I was like 36 weeks pregnant. Full term is like 40 weeks, I'm pretty sure. And so I was like 36 weeks pregnant, and I had a doctor's appointment to get my cervix checked. And if you're a new mom or anything, getting your cervix check is to see if you're dilated any or whatever, if it's like starting to open up to get the baby ready to, you know, push out, obviously. And obviously if you're not full term, you don't want that to happen. But anyway, so I was getting my cervix checked. The doctor was like, yeah, everything looks good. You're dilated maybe like 1 centimeter. I think that's what she said. I honestly don't remember, which you know, which isn't bad. After that, after my doctor's appointment, we decided to go visit my family. So I went to my mom's house, and while we were there, I had to use the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and I wiped, and there was some blood, which is obviously not good if you're pregnant. I was nervous and I was concerned, so I went up to my mom, and she's a registered nurse, you know, a very smart lady. And I was like, this is happening, but I did have my cervix checked today. And she's like, well, your doctor should have told you that that can happen if you get your cervix checked, that you can like spot or whatever. I'm like, no, she didn't tell me. So I was unaware. And she's like, yeah. So after that, Joseph and I just carried on about the day, didn't really think of anything of it. We went to visit my sister actually before leaving where they live, because they all live in the same town. So we went to visit my sister, and then after that we went to go eat Mexican, and I love Mexican. So we just ate Mexican, and then after that we went back home. And then when we were home, I was like sitting down. Everything was normal this entire day, okay? It was just a normal day. So I was just sitting down, and then there was this liquid. It was just like, psh. And I honestly just thought I was peeing on myself, because I'm a first-time mom, for one, and for two, you know, you can lose control of your bladder when you're pregnant. So I was just like, oh, there it goes. I'm just peeing on myself. So I just thought I was peeing on myself, but I was just like, I don't think I had to pee. Did I have to pee? I was literally so confused. Don't judge me, but I was so confused. I'm like, I didn't have to pee, but I feel like I just peed on myself. So I checked, and I was like, yeah, sure enough, it's wet down there. And I don't think I had to pee, so why would I pee on myself? So I called my mom, and I told her, I'm like, I think like something happened. I don't think I peed on myself, but there's like all kinds of liquid and stuff. And she's like, well, you know, just like, does it smell like pee? I'm like, well, no. But now I'm just, you know, nothing's working, and I'm just like, I don't even know what pee smells like. I'm like, I don't think it's pee. And she's like, your water probably broke. And I was like, no, because I was only 36 weeks pregnant. Like, why would it break? I was like, no, my water couldn't have broken. She's like, yeah, your water probably broke, so you should go to the ER, because it was like probably 10 o'clock by now. Doctor's offices were closed and whatever, so I had to go to the ER. So we were at the hospital, and the RN was like, I'm just gonna check this liquid to see if your water broke or not, or if you're just leaking or whatever. I thought I was leaking amniotic fluid, which is obviously bad, because that's what's around the baby, and that's what I thought was happening, because again, I was only 36 weeks pregnant. So she's like, she had this little slip of paper or whatever, and she's like, I'm gonna check to see if your water broke. If it turns blue, then your water broke. So she checked, and well enough, it was like dark blue. She's like, yep, your water broke. And I was like, no. I was so unprepared. Like, we had basically everything that we needed to have Ahana here. However, nothing was like in the right spot. We didn't have the car seat in the car. Nothing was ready, because, you know, 36 weeks. Wasn't expecting it. I thought we had time. We were prepping to get ready, but we weren't ready yet. So we're at the hospital. I'm in labor. Okay, so I call my mom. I'm like, yep, well enough, I'm in labor. He calls his parents. He's like, yeah, Ashlyn's in labor. I was in passive labor, which is like, you know, you're not pushing or anything. I was in passive labor for, I can't remember, for like 12 hours, I think. But it didn't feel like 12 hours. Honestly, time went by pretty quickly, but aside from the fact that when I was having contractions, it was incredibly excruciating because Ahana, like the entire, okay, so the entire pregnancy, every time I would go to the doctor's office, nothing was ever a concern. Nothing was ever wrong that I was told, like, that was wrong. At one point, Ahana was looking a little small, I think, but she got on track. So nothing was wrong. But, like, if you would look in the mirror, my stomach was kind of like this. You know, when you think of a pregnant belly, you kind of think more round, but she kind of was always low. So when I was having contractions, she was like pushing up against like my pelvis or something like that. And it was so painful. Like, it was the worst pain I've ever experienced in my entire life. The contractions would come like every 5 minutes or whatever, so I couldn't get any sleep. But like, you need to rest, you know, you need to get ready to, you know, deliver. And I'm like, I can't, because I'm in so much pain. It hurts so much. The contractions, of course, start picking up when it gets closer. So it was like happening quicker and it was just awful. But eventually, thank goodness, they gave me the epidural, and I love the epidural. I couldn't feel anything. I was so chill and relaxed. I'm like, yeah, this is a lot better. Okay, I can handle this. I legit could not feel anything. My legs are numb because that's what happens. Your lower half just completely goes numb, you know. And so my legs were numb. I couldn't really move them, and I couldn't feel the contractions anymore, which was amazing. I was legit just sitting back watching TV like the entire time up until it was time to push. And like even then I was watching TV because it was like right there, and like you don't push the entire time. You have to, you know, wait until the contractions happen. And so I was watching Matilda because that's what was on, because it was around Halloween time. If you paid attention to when I said she was due, it was around Halloween time, okay? I went to active labor, started pushing. The pushing and all that stuff was pretty easy because I had the epidural. I didn't feel anything, you know, and then eventually, you know, she popped out. And I'm like, oh, there she is. And of course I cried. I wasn't expecting to cry. I don't know why, but I just wasn't. But then when I saw her, when I held her, like, yeah, I started crying and we were happy, of course. She had a little cone head, which is like unfortunate. It was like all liquid and stuff in her head that made her head shaped like a cone. I was like, they're like, oh, don't worry, it won't stay like that, it will go down. Sure enough, it did, so that's good. Thank goodness. Now she has a beautiful little round head. But yeah, that's the story of my pregnancy and then labor with Ahana. Now here's the other stuff. So she was due on November 9th, and I had her before that. I had her at 36 weeks, so she was a preemie. Because she was a preemie, she did have some complications, obviously. So like I said earlier, I got diagnosed with gestational diabetes, and because of that, Ahana also had some blood sugar problems when she was born. I had high blood sugar, and when she was born she had low blood sugar. So you had to watch after that. And then also, as soon as you have your baby, they try to get the baby to latch onto your breast so you can feed them. And Ahana, she just didn't want to eat. And so they're like, if she doesn't eat, we need to take her so obviously she can get the nutrients that she needs. And then also, on top of that, you know, she had the blood sugar problem. And pause for a second, I forgot. While she was still inside me and stuff, they gave me a shot. I don't remember exactly what the shot was for, but Joseph says it was like a steroid for like Ahana's lungs or something. I don't remember. I just remember them giving me the shot. I just don't remember what it was for, but okay. So she needed like all this attention, obviously, because she, you know, she's coming pretty early. You know, fast forward back to where we were. She wasn't drinking the milk, and so she had to go to the NICU. So she was in the NICU for like 3 days. That's why we had to stay at the hospital, which isn't bad, you know, comparatively. But yeah, so you know, looking back at it, I was completely calm and chilled the entire time, and so was Joseph. Like, I don't know, I mean, I don't know exactly how he was feeling, but like I had no worry at all. And you know how amazing that is to not have any worry at all? Like, I wasn't scared at all. I mean, I don't know, like maybe God was with me, you know, without me even thinking about it. I mean, while I was having contractions, I was praying to him because like it was painful. I'm like, please take away this pain, and he sure did. Thank gosh, thank God. But seriously, I guess he was just with us the entire time, because I honestly did not think about it at all, that she was in the NICU, and that could have been extremely bad, because it was brought to my attention recently, actually. My sister was like, I can't believe that you all went through that. And I'm like, you know, you're right. Like, I didn't look at it as an extremely negative thing when it happened. Like, I wasn't completely concerned or worried. Like, this one nurse kept telling us if she doesn't eat, she'll need to be on tubes. So obviously I didn't want that to happen, and I was worried about that, but it didn't happen. You know, she wasn't eating at first, but then she started to eat, and she just kept eating, and one nurse was like, oh my gosh, she's eating like more and more. So she started to eat because sorry about that, it's like but yeah, because she really just would not eat for a little bit. She would get too tired, and obviously, you know, and then she would like go to sleep and stuff. But she started to eat 2 ounces and stuff, so she was bottle fed. She was on formula, and she started to eat more. She started to be able to get her own heat because she was under the light for a little bit to keep her warm. And then she got jaundice, but jaundice is like very common for newborns, so like that wasn't too much of a concern for everybody because it's an easy thing to help. So she was put under those special lights to help the jaundice, and then she started eating better. The jaundice was all cleared up, and she was eventually able to come to the room with us because she was just in the NICU for a while, and then she was able to come to the room with us. And they're like, if she passed all these tests while she's in the room with you, then you're able to take her home. And she did. She passed the test, and it was good. Okay, so Ahana was such a small baby, you know. When she was, at the time, obviously she was small because she was a preemie. She weighed like 5 pounds and a certain amount of ounces when she was born, and she was like this big. She was so small, but like I didn't pay any mind to it. She was just there. She just was. But when I look at those pictures and compare them to her now, oh my gosh, she was so small. Because if you see Ahana now, she is still small. She is almost 6 months old, and she can still fit 3-month-old clothes. That's how small she is. She's still a preemie no matter what, you know. Obviously she's doing so much better. She loves food. Oh my gosh, when we feed her, and we like to take breaks in between feeding her because if she eats it too fast, she'll spit up and stuff. So we like to pace her. So when we take the break, we try to give her the pacifier, and it usually works. She'll just calm down and be like, okay, I'm not completely done eating yet. My food's coming back to me. But other times she'll scream and cry because she really, really loves her food now, which is obviously really good. She eats a whole lot now, and I'm really happy about that. And yeah, so that's the story of me going into labor early, and our birth story, and you know, the story of Ahana coming into existence topside. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to add in. Oh yeah, just if you're curious or anything, like I said, when she was in the NICU, she was bottle fed. She was on formula, and I was producing some breast milk, but obviously not to the extent that you could have produced it if the baby was also helping you produce it. So when we took her home, I could produce about 1 ounce or 2, but then I just decided breastfeeding and breast pumping just wasn't for me, so we just strictly bottle feed now. A lot of people have opinions about that, but Ahana, like, she literally needed it. And then we just stayed with it, so that's what we're doing, just in case you're curious. Feel free to ask any questions about formula feeding if you want, because it's not as talked about as breastfeeding, because breastfeeding is obviously what you want to do, but it's just not what happens sometimes. But if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask, and I'll answer all your questions if I can. And hopefully I explained enough things that I try to talk about well enough, you know, not being a nurse or a doctor or anything, just kind of going about, you know, motherhood and learning as I go, because that's all you can do, really. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story of our little family coming into existence, and like I said, feel free to ask any questions down in the comments, and I will hopefully answer all those questions. And thanks for watching, and have a good night.